Hello, this is Cam from the Brother Slim, and welcome to another unboxing video of this big chungus, Primal. So this one's kind of a funny one for me, because while I was interested in this game, and I still am, it looks like a lot of fun, I have a lot of boss battlers / campaign story games, and between playing Kingdom Death by myself and Aeon Trespass with the rest of the brothers, there's just no time. But I thought these minis would be really, really cool to have as kind of like a feature and focus in a D&D campaign as some god beasts, shall we say. So I found someone online who wanted the game and didn't want the minis, and we splits it. I'm not going to do a full unboxing of everything because, technically speaking, all of the card components and all that stuff are not mine, and I wanted to make sure it's packaged up as neatly and cleanly as possible for the fellow that's going to be getting the game soon. But I also wanted to showcase what I got too, because it's a pretty cool big box. And as an aside, as a big fan of Aeon Trespass, I do kind of wish they did something similar to this with the box, where it's the white, but with some splashes of colors and logos and stuff too. I'm just looking at the Aeon Trespass box right now, and I mean, like, it's cool, but it looks like a it looks like a white box, like the the in progress does everything fit component wise kind of box. But I'm glad that they love it, and I'm looking forward to new boxes. Anyways, that's a tangent. Yeah, so let's take a look at this. This is huge, and in my little space, I can't really fit much else, but there are other little logos and stuff on the side, which is fun. Let's see if we can flip over on the back side here too. There we go. Nature on Tharia has always been indomitable and ferocious. Ever since their arrival on the island, mankind has taken refuge behind the walls of their fortified city. Only hunters like you are able to travel beyond the borders of Alboria in search of resources and answers to the island's secrets. Indeed. Very Monster Hunter-esque. And if you ask me, more evocative and interesting looking than the Monster Hunter game as well, although by all intents and purposes that's a good one too. But yeah, it's cool art. Let's get this flipped over and start playing. And again, I love that it's just like the art and like the little evocative story on the back too. That's fun. Okay, big box. I think it makes sense too. Let's see, where should we put this? Do we want you up there? Nah, let's put you on the ground. Fun little story on the inside of the box here too. Then the dragon will come, and the dormant monsters will answer its call. Yeah, I like that. Fun, evocative, concise. Oh, Jesus. So that was me struggling to get the big, crazy miniature insert out. And here it is. Another big chungus of minis. Yeah, pretty cool. Nice form-fitted lid that pops off, although I will say it is kind of hard to get it out of the box. And feels kind of flimsy. I feel like it would get roughed up pretty easy if the game saw a lot of use, which I'm sure it will for a lot of people. And yeah, here we go. Let's take a look at these miniatures. That might have sounded horrendous, my apologies. Okay, one thing before the minis, just because I think I'm going to use it as a backdrop. This is the game board itself, which is so small. You can still barely fit it on the screen there. But as far as game boards go, that is tiny for boss battlers, which is really, really cool, because so many of them are table hogs. Big thing is obviously the monster doesn't necessarily move around, it just rotates. For example, let's do this guy. He would just sit there, and then depending on the various cards in play, would rotate section to section to section. And then your player characters are obviously in the various sections too. And the monster's cards will have different effects for different sections and such. And then each monster, let's see if we can get that in focus, has these little notches so you can tell which way it's facing, which is pretty neat. Put it back off to the side. So once again, tiny game board, really cool. And then we have the campaign board. And so this is where you will have your various quest cards associated with the different elements that are in play. Very neat. And the reason why I took this out is we're going to use this as a hopeful backdrop or so too, for the little mini showcase. So let's fold this up. Put that back. Let's see if this works a little bit better. Cool. Yeah, I think that looks to be in focus. So if I recall correctly, this guy's name is Thorak, and he is like Reinhardt from Overwatch. Hammer down, baby. Big hammer guy, super cool. I cannot remember the bow lady's name, but she's got a frickin' heckin' huge bow, which is pretty cool. I think it's classic Monster Hunter, like the oversized weapons. Very cool, very cool. And I think Lionar, something like that. Shield tanky boy. Okay, just making sure. I think that's in focus. Yeah, and so these player, like the minis, the scale is actually a little bit smaller than I thought it was going to be. And that's not to say that the giant monsters are small, but they're not, all of them aren't as big as I thought. And then the player characters here are definitely like a maybe 28 millimeter. I can't remember offhand, but a little bit smaller than I thought. Tiny compared to, say, like the Oathsworn minis, which I think are 35 millimeter. But yeah, crazy amount of detail given the size. They look great. So that Reggie Games, a company behind this game, are working with King of Average, who's got a bunch of videos on YouTube about like making the minis as best as possible. And I'd say that they are pretty freaking top notch for board game minis. Big fan. Okay, let's see. Where do we want to start? I guess let's go with this guy who's already out. This guy is, I think, metal themed, if I recall correctly. And I'm going to use him in my D&D campaign as a... There's going to be a region, I can't remember the Pinnacle Peaks or something like that. I can't remember the exact name, but with a bunch of floating magnetized glaciers. And he's going to be up there, and you better believe those big horns are going to be magnets that he can use to fly around glacier to glacier. Yeah, cool. Kind of reminds me of like a mix of like a horrible rhino mammoth monstrosity, and it's sweet. This one's name was Ozu, something like that. Pronunciation, once again, not entirely sure. And it's a big, cute beetle. A lightning/thunder beetle, if you want to go Pokemon ways. This is an example of one that isn't actually that big compared to the size of the base, but still lots of detail. Cool mini. Super cool. And we're working our way up. This was one of the first ones on display for any sort of previews or prototypes. The Toramat. Kind of like one of those dinosaurs. Pachycephalosaurus? Ones that beat their skulls against each other? Yeah, kind of like a Pachy. Love its kind of cute, derpy little mouth. A little top shot there too. And its fanned out tail. Yeah. Very evocative, interesting, cool designs on all of these. I don't remember this one's name, but it's like a four-winged water drake thing, which is neat. Very neat. Originally, I think this is one of my least favorites, but it is really unique and has grown on me for sure. Top down there once again. All the bases are sculpted too, which is nice. They're not like fully sculpted all the way to the edges in a lot of cases, but it's better than being entirely flat, that's for sure. Okay, this one's name was Digorax, if I recall correctly, with the rock element. And big, cool, kind of wyvern, bulldog kind of vibe is what I get from it. Very, very spiky and pokey. Cool, cool. And top down once more. One thing nice that I think was a great call is all of the bases are hollow to help out with weight, and the minis are all a little bit lighter than you'd expect, which is nice. Okay, which one next? Can't remember this one's name, but it is a fire wyvern drake thing with a... it's a dirty little no-neck, as they say. Wings look really cool. Spiky tail, fun pose. Yep, that's sweet. All right, these next two are probably two of my favorite ones from the bunch, and I was a little disappointed in their size by comparison. I understand why, though. This one, I think Jekorus was his name. Look at that tail. It's so long. Yeah, it's like the biggest tail I think I've ever seen on a miniature. Kind of gives me like Aberration Godzilla vibes, which is really neat. And so this one, like the scale of the mini is just a little bit smaller than the rest because its tail is so ginormous. Which makes sense. It's just like a little too bad. Cool. Then next up, I can't remember its name, but we basically have Crystal Godzilla, which is awesome. Oh, Mokras, that was its name. And I'm probably butchering all the pronunciation, that's just a given. Yeah, Crystal Godzilla is freaking sick, and I am here for it. A little top-down view of all those crystals. Yeah, super neat. Let's see if we can get a little close-up on that face. Awesome. Then last but certainly not least, for the main box here, oh, there is more, so never mind, not last but least. But we're doing it now because it's in this section. We have The Awakened. Roll credits. Primal The Awakening is complete. So this dude is a heckin' mega chunk. If you're to take him to the vet, that is for sure. So giant wyvern dragon thing. Really good details. Big, huge mini. This one's definitely quite heavy. So many spikes. He's on the box art. He's huge. Yeah, very neat. Cool. Cool. All right, so these are the rest of the minis from the core box. We got Metal Dragon Dog, or Drake, shall we say, if we're kind of going with D&D terms. Really fun, cool pose. I didn't realize how long its tail was. Cool. A little top down. Neat. And then we've got Fiery Kitty Cat with two tails. Once again, really fun pose. Top down there too, just fun. Cool. Icy or prismatic Ninetales here, shall we say. Alexar, I think the name is in the game. With a whole bunch of eyeballs too. 4 eyeballs, 9 tails. Big crystal shaggy mane. Yeah, that's cool. Cool. And then last but certainly not least for the core game is the Ammonite crab creature. I am a big fan of crustaceans. I just think they're neat. And this thing is absolutely neat. I love all like the coral and kind of barnacle stuff growing off of his back/shell. Really good touches. And look at that face. I, for one, am here for our crustacean overlords, for sure. Alright, cool. So, those are the minis. We'll look at a couple other things just really quick here, too. Gonna leave these ones in the plastic wrapping because I want to keep everything as together as possible for the person that the game's going to. Here is a player board. So this is Darion, the Great Sword. So you can see where your weapon and your armor and your gear go and different like items you can use, and there's potions or something. And then on the back, there's all art, which is nice. Oh, you can see the ceiling there and the reflection. Cool. And it looks like, just judging from that, my assumption is that this would form maybe a big scene with all the different characters in the Awoken, or the Awakened, whatever it's called. Yeah, so that's cool. Then kind of Kingdom Death style, there's all of these different, like, well, there's not a ton of them. There's herbalists and there's forges that you can unlock and craft different stuff and level up. So there's like level 1 through 3 for forges and herbalists, I believe. And there's some of the art of the things you can make, different potions, the resources you need to craft them, and same idea over there as well. Cool, cool. Once again, not going to open these up, but there is an example of the gear card, which looks pretty freaking gorgeous. It's a big card too. And so there's like a really cool card play mechanic, and it's obviously different effects per card too. Player reference cards, cool, cool. This I'm going to open up just because I actually want to take pictures of this, because I might do a strictly story on this game once it's already gone and just have pictures of everything. Because I am curious. I'm really spoiled for writing with ATO as far as board games go. But I do want to see a little more of this game's world, because it looks really neat. Memory of the Desert. So here are some example cards. So these are all the quests that make up the campaign. So Memory of the Desert, number 1, is going to be one of the first options that you have to pick from. To do with earthquakes, and you hunt the Tormats, which is cool. And then just fun little envelope with a number on the back there, so that'll correlate to the scenario and the quest story and stuff. It's pretty cool, simple and effective means. Then other little cards. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, so a bunch of different little cards. The rule book is surprisingly hefty. So it is, how many pages is it? The very last page with the credits, 120 pages long. Not all of it is like a mandatory, I would say, looking at it at a glance. Like there is, let's look at the table of contents. So there's the prologue in here, how to go through the prologue, and then campaign rules, expedition rules, which is basically like one-off kind of gameplay. Glossary, which is nice, component storage. Oh, that's nice, I didn't see that before. Additional rules, and then, yeah. There's a fair amount of art too, and like the layout itself feels really nice. Like just really clear, easy to follow, which is cool. Talking about all the different facings and how that works. Just a breakdown of the game and play. Once again, like as far as table space for boss battler, unreal. And then let's get to the, here we go. So let's play. You're ready to start your first campaign. I love all the art in here. And like a bunch of it's just reused from various places, but I mean, it's good art, so that's fine by me. This is the expedition section, so it's just got special rules for each encounter, as well as 2 different map layouts too, with the different terrain there as well. I ended up not getting it myself, but the fellow that I'm sharing the game with did get the 3D terrain, so we can take a quick look at that too. And more of those guys. The Awakened. Very cool, very cool. Yeah, so we'll close that up. And that is the big old rule book. Campaign book. Also a very thick book. See, I don't want to spoil anything in the very back here. It's cool art though, that's for sure. Nope, we're not going to look at that. That's all spoiler territory in the back. I've been observing them for years. They are more than mere predators. They do not kill to eat, nor to protect their territory. When unleashed, theirs is a hunger that is difficult to comprehend, impossible to appease. From the Diaries of Nemon, Prime Seeker. Cool. And ooh, I am a sucker for a good map. And I mean, it's just divided biome to biome, but that is a beautiful map. Very cool. So you as I think you're a seeker in this game, or hunter, I can't remember. But you are based out of Alboria, and you got an airship, and you roam around killing giant monsters for their bits. Good life indeed. And then it begins the Chapter 1 campaign. Cool, so we'll close that up. One thing kind of neat, actually. One last thing in here. All right, so the campaign chapters are one thing. You read through those. Then quest scenarios are kind of like the little in-between steps, and their rewards will have various kind of small tie-ins of items and like expanded little lore bits as well. So really neat. There's definitely it seems like a fair amount of replayability. And I saw some people reviewing it online that were saying the same, and it was just the like the chapter stories that stays the same. So that's cool. And then small thing, but I love that the campaign chapters or the campaign sheet has color. I don't think I've seen a campaign sheet that doesn't have color, which is just, yeah, it's cool. Nice little touch. Is it needed? Not at all. But is it cool? Heck yeah. Especially with all the resources and such. Yeah, I like that. And I think ATO didn't even come with any campaign sheets, which, I mean, like, to be fair, that game has, I think, a campaign sheet per cycle, and there's 3 cycles. So, like, I guess that could get out of hand quick if you wanted to really stock everything up, but yeah, I was surprised by that. It's cool to see. And there is, ooh, what's this? Oh, yeah. These are player sheets. Once again, color as well. Cool, cool. And yeah, there are a big stack of both of those. And beneath that, I'm not going to open this up either, but there we are with the tokens, punch boards and everything. Nice, nice, nice. Once again, we'll take a look at them in the 3D terrain. Yeah, and so that's all that we'll look into from there. Okay, this one's a little bit more for the memes. I actually opened this box by accident because I thought it was the stretch goals. This is my partner in gaming here wanted the sleeve set, and this heckin' chunk of a box is what all the sleeves came in, which is pretty wild. Once again, love how they styled the art and logo off the white box. Really well done. Beautiful, really cool art. Let's see anything on the back of this too. Oh, nice. Yeah, there we go. There's that full image of, looks like 3 of the 4 starting characters facing off against the Awakened. I feel the storm spreading in the sky. Its voice is everywhere, in the cutting air and the trembling earth. It wants to devour anything, everything. Voice is capitalized too, so I'm sure voice is something to do with the lore of the world, which is kind of fun. Yeah, cool. And let's just open this up, just for fun, since the box is already unwrapped. How many sleeves are thee? Ta-da! Many, many sleeves. We'll close that up. Next up, let's take a little look at the 3D terrain. So I originally was going to get this too, and ultimately decided against it, just because I've already got a fair amount of 3D terrain for RPGs and such. But it was tempting because this did look really cool. So let's see if I kick myself for canceling my own add-on. Oh, actually, first things first. Anything fun on the back here too? Just the terrain. So this is kind of like your bog standards. I'd say any game with minis usually has the 3D renders on the back, and so there we are, 3D renders. I do like it when they don't though, and I mean this is just some random add-on, so whatever. But thinking of the main boxes mostly. Ooh, those do look pretty nice. Cool. Okay, so we got all these plants. Let's see, I wonder if I can just use this. Yeah, I mean, that looks freaking sweet. For a board game mini terrain, bush terrain, like, heck yeah, that looks awesome. There's a lot of detail in there. Cool. Very, very cool. So you get 3 of those big bushes. Let's see if I can get it back right. Huzzah. You get 2 of these little ones, which look kind of like some sort of predatory plant. Kind of see how tiny it is compared to my fingers, but still cool. So this would be about the size / height of one of the player characters, if you go all the way to the stalks. Got that there, cool. Oh, sorry, you actually get 4 of those big grass bushes. Another cool plant thing here. That reminds me of like carrot tops almost, with little hokey pokey things on top. Cool, cool. And then mushrooms! Who doesn't love a good mushroom miniature? Neat. I like that it's got a sculpted base too. Yeah. Cool. Very, very cool. Alrighty. Looks like a weed if you ask me. Oh, it's got a mouth, so this is absolutely a predatory plant. Kind of like a little Mario style, you could say. Nom, 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 nom. Cool. And this was something that, like, I get the reason behind it for the gameplay, but I just feel like having the cutout of the rock is... Like, if the whole purpose of this thing is immersion, I feel like having the cutout to place the mini in it is just a little bit less immersive when it's already like a really flat surface that the mini could just sit on. But I mean, that's still a nice looking rock. And that's what it's meant to be. So it's doing a good job. Once again, hollow too, so it's super light. And last but not least, more rocks. I mean, yeah, they're rocks, and they look cool. You could take cover behind that. It would work great in any sort of tabletop role-playing games too. Yeah, very cool. I think the terrain set looks great. I'm not upset that I didn't get it, just because I already have a whole bunch of 3D terrain stuff, but this good set. It looks great. It looks awesome. Let's close this up. And the botanical floral, not floral, but botanical art on there is lovely too. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, next up, let's do the stretch goals box. There we go. So I said I liked crustaceans, but I'm also a huge sucker for some dinosaurs. And when I saw the T-Rex stretch goal, I was like, hell yeah. So it was probably one of the ones that I was most stoked on. Ooh, and we got some different art on the back here, which is also really neat. Volcano lands. Cool, cool, cool. And let's crack this box open. Zitharos is, I think, the name of their T-Rex guy. Ooh. I do love all these little random quotes on here, or writing, little story bits. If you had the strength not of one, but of all the monsters of Thyriab, you could put an end to this nightmare for mankind. So a little mini campaign book for the stretch goals, nightmare expansion rulebook thing. Ooh, I love that art. That's cool. Let's put this off to the side really quick. So campaign book for Nightmare Unleashed. It is said that in Theria's darkest nights, even the monsters are burdened with terrible nightmares that torment them, making them even more aggressive and feral and leaving a trail of blood beneath their eyes. Gross. Okay, that same map. And then right into quest scenarios. So that's one of the stretch goals minis, and it's got introduction, various conclusions and such. Or these ones are just the same conclusions, but some of the encounters do have different conclusions. And there's our boy Zitharos, the T-Rex, and I like turtles. Awesome. And then I'm sure this will just go into the various rules. Nice, we got the component list. New rules, awesome, awesome. Nightmare variant rule. It's an optional variant rule that is designed to increase the difficulty beyond the challenge of the base game. Cool, new keywords. Nice. So just smaller booklets. Small thing, and I love this. I'm sure that all the other ones have this too. I just haven't opened them up because, again, I want to ship everything as neatly as possible. But I love the full art backing. Just love it. That's sweet. Because obviously, with board games, you need to worry about UI. And then you either got to shrink the art and hide it beneath different game elements, which can still look great. But being able to include the full art is just a nice touch. I really like that. Yeah, so this is the monster board. Once again, simple and effective. Looks great. And let's look at the rest of these full art things, because we can. So we got this creepy, kind of gives me like, once again, going over the aberrant kind of look if you're thinking D&D, but kind of like a aberrant rust monster would be my choice. It's got its second form there. Can't remember what the different colors mean, but there's something. And Turtle Boy. Oh yeah, cool. Nice. Well, let's take a look at them. Once again, not going to bother getting into the cards. We've done that. Some extra little punch-out boards. Okay. So going in order of least favorites to favorites. I wonder if we can pull this up again. Go. So we got this Rust Monster Dog Aberration thing, which is pretty cool. It's once again, it's a little bit smaller in compared to a lot of the other bosses. I think its base is actually even smaller too, but looks cool. Really good detail, and its chest tentacle things are creepy as heck. Oh dang, this guy's spiky. Our turtle boy here. Big snapping turtle mouth. Crazy spiky shell and tail. Yep. Very neat, very neat. And alas, my T-Rex, best chum here, suffers from the long tail-itis and is just a little bit smaller than some of the other really big minis. It's still a frickin' sick dinosaur miniature, though. I think what I might do for some of them, that I feel like just could use a little bit more intimidation factor, I'm going to do the olds. They're probably super glued together, is my hope. So what I'm going to do is chuck them in the freezer for a bit, and that breaks the bond of the glue so that they become nice and brittle. And then I should be able to just pop them off the base, stick some putty on the base to kind of raise up his footing a little bit, which will give him the illusion of girth. Yeah, so that is the plan with our T-Rex buddy here. Very neat, very neat. Okay, and last but certainly not least, we have the Venom box. That snake is so cool looking. And different art on the back there too, very nice. Let's crack this open here as well. Awesome. Okay, we can take one quick look at these crafting cards. These ones are separate. So this is the Venom Forge level 1. It's got all the different gear that you can make from it and the cost. Reverse side is the same, but then there's level 2. So the exact same gear, just leveled up. And I think the art accompanying each weapon does change. So as you level your gear up, the cards will have different art too, which is just a nice touch. So you level up and look more badass. Here are more of those full art cards with the monster boards on the other side. That snake is so cool. Super cool. And nice toxic looking logo for the campaign book. Yep, I like it. It is said that even the ancient is afraid of reliving that memory. I love all these little lore tidbits that are here. So you get some new punch-out tokens for this. Looks like some new terrain or something. There's an example of a gear card too that's just sitting on top. Cobra, level 1, big old great sword. Very cool. And so both of these minis are a little bit smaller than I expected. Specifically this guy, who's a pretty cool like forest dragon doggy thing. Still really, really neat, just a little bit smaller. And the base is small too. It's the same size as that other small one from the stretch goal box. There we go. And last but certainly not least, this slippery snake, who is so cool. And I mean, it's still a frickin' heckin' chunk of a snake, so I'm nothing to be disappointed about the size here. It's a big mini. But I do wish it was just a tiny bit bigger. But that's okay though, because it looks really neat. Yeah. I don't know who decided a snake needed 4 grabbing appendages with claws on its face, but big thumbs up to them. And yeah, with that, that is everything that I'm going through of Primal the Awakening. If anyone does want to see a Strictly story for this, let me know. I'm going to take all the pictures of all the gear and stuff, and I might try and make something more engaging where like I've actually got some B-roll footage of parts of the game. But that'll be happening once I finish reading through Oathsworn at some point. So yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, we'll catch you next time. Bye!